Hello everybody and welcome to Birdsnest Designs. Today I'm here to share with you this beautiful card using the Art Gallery stamp set. This is brand new in the January to June mini catalog. This is a stamp set that I featured for my January 2021 Stamp of the Month Club, and this is the card that I'm going to do the video on for this month's club. So as you can see, it's a bit of a fancy fold card. It's not your traditional fold. It comes together very, very easily. So I'm just going to run through step by step how to make this beautiful card. Okay, so if you're a member of my club, you've got this kit all prepared for you and ready to go. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of Bumblebee cardstock. This measures 3 1/4 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it in half at 4 1/4 here. So we're just going to go ahead and with the bump to the inside, we're going to fold that guy right in half. And then with your bone folder, if you've got one, you're just going to burnish the edge like that. That just gives it a nice, clean, crisp fold. Then we've got a piece of 3 by 4 Whisper White in your kit. That's going to be for the inside of this cute little card. Okay, so it's just going to go in like that. I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal. Just attach that right on the inside. Just like that. And then you've got a piece of Designer Series paper here, this yellow, and it comes from the paper in this product suite. It's called Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper. We're going to go ahead and attach that to the front of our little mini card here. Okay, so there we've got that. The next thing we want to do is we're going to take the back of our card. So this is Mary Merlot cardstock, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to serve as the back to our greeting card here. What we want to do is center the yellow guy right in the middle here, and we're going to attach that down. You want to make sure that you've got it as close to center as possible, because these strips here are then going to come in, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and again with my Stampin' Seal, just going to attach, oops. Okay, that looks centered to me, so I'm just going to stick that down like that. And then, like I said, we're going to take these strips here. These are also from the Designer Series paper pack, and they measure 1 inch wide by 4 inches long. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick these guys on. You want it to butt right up to the yellow cardstock. Oh, geez. All right, so there we go. You can see how this card is just coming together so beautifully. Now I've cut this lovely die cutout for you guys, and that is from the Hippo and Friends dies. These are one of my most used dies. I love all these shapes. They're perfect for so many different cards. So I've gone ahead and I've cut this shape out here, and it is the largest of the 3 in the pack. And I'm going to just center that vertically, but off to the left side here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that now. Just trying to get all the pieces to our card before we get to the stamping. We'll get as much of it off and done. Okay, so there we go. We've got that on there now. And the next thing we have to do is all stamping. So I'm just going to take this card now and set it aside, and I'm going to bring in the 3 other pieces that are in your kit. So we've got a little tiny strip here that's going to be for the salutation, and this measures 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. We've got a scrap of white here that we're going to use to stamp the flower itself on, and then we've got a scrap of Mossy Meadow to stamp the leaves and the stem. So all my scrap stamping pieces all are marked with this little hole in them. Okay, so let's start with the stem. So I'm going to get my Mossy Meadow ink pad, and I've got the stem and leaves here, and I'm just going to stamp this guy on my scrap paper, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to set that aside for a moment. The next thing I want to do is stamp the flower. So you can see that the flower is two-tone, and it's done with a double stamping technique. So to do this, I'm using terracotta tile and Mary Merlot. I'm going to start with the terracotta tile, and I'm going to use 2 stamps to get this effect. Okay, so this one is a more bold, solid image. This one is more of the highlights. So I'm going to use the bolder image, or the more full image, with the terracotta tile, and I'm going to stamp that right here on this scrap piece of paper, just like that. And then with my Mary Merlot, I'm going to use the highlight image. And I'm just going to stamp that over top. And you can kind of line up the stamps. For me, I line it up down here. And there we go. Okay, so it will dry, as you can see. This one's a little bit brighter, but it will dry to this nice terracotta tile color. Oh, before I close this Mary Merlot, I want to stamp my sentiment. I'm thinking of you. It's going to go on this little strip here. And I'm just going to center that guy. Perfect. Okay, now we're done with the stamping part. So here you can either, if you've purchased the dies, so the Floral Gallery dies here, then you can go ahead and cut out the leaves and the flower head with these dies. If you haven't, don't worry. All you got to do is just take your scissors and fussy cut around them. They're very easy to do. I'm just going to bring in my little Stampin' Emboss machine. And I'm going to give these a run through here. So we no longer have a magnetic platform for this, but I'm going to use my handy dandy Post-it note to hold this guy in place where I want it. And just spin that through. Yep. Post-it note, and there we have our flower. And then I'm going to do the same thing to cut out the leaves. Oops. Okay, so now we've got our leaves cut out, our flower cut out. All that's left to do is to finish assembling this cute little card. All right, so I am just going to attach my leaves kind of on an angle like this. And for that, I'm going to use multi-purpose glue because I'd like it to be nice and adhered down on this stem here. Okay, I'm just going to pop that on here, like so. Now this guy is going to go on to some Stampin' Dimensionals, aka Bumpets. I'm going to put a few of those on here to make it a nice balanced dimension. And that's going to go right over top. I'm just going to line up the tip of the stem to the flower like that. And lastly, I'm going to adhere the I'm thinking of you sentiment on dimensionals as well. But I do want it to overhang a bit here, so I'm going to be very careful that I don't put my dimensional right to the end. I don't want it to adhere, because if it does, it's going to keep our card closed, which might not make the recipient overly happy. Okay, so we've got our 3 dimensionals. Again, remember not to put it right to the edge. And that's just going to get stuck right on here. Just like that. So there you have it. And as you can see, the ink's not quite dried back to its final color. But there you've got the 2 cards. And how easy was that? So thank you very much for popping in and watching along today. I have more information posted on my blog, createwithbirdsnest.ca, about my Stamp of the Month Club if you're not already a member. So please stop on there and check it all out. And yeah, so here you go. Enjoy, have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.